let's go over to TFNN.com because it is a Tuesday, and every Tuesday we are joined by Basil Chapman. Basil is the author of the Opening Call newsletter. Man, we love having Basil Chapman on. His analysis is fantastic. You've got to check out the Opening Call newsletter. Of course, when you do that, you get access to his 90-minute live webinars that are just for subscribers. Additionally, he has a fantastic long-form video at the end of every week. It really feels like you're getting, the attention that you want when you're buying a letter like this. Basil, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fantastic. How you doing?
Okay, good. It's like the ad. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Looking at some Dow action, huh?
Yeah, so I will show this. This is the Dow chart on the left. That's the daily chart, the Dow chart weekly in the middle, and the Dow chart monthly. Now we've got just a few days to go. Monday will be the end of the month of March. And I'm watching this particular candle. I'll talk about it tomorrow on my show, the Tiger Technicians Hour, and as we go into Friday and Monday, because as it stands, if we were to close here, I'd call this a Chapman wave, a red Chapman wave Roman candle near the high. You've got to be careful of that. But so far, it's not the end of the month, so I'm going to wait. If you look at the weekly chart, it held this beautiful support. I call this Chapman wave inside track propellant zone when it's on the way down, and on the way up where it was resistance. It's a resistance zone, and we've had a that we've actually rallied since Friday morning. This is what, 3 sessions, 2,000 points. So that's I should say that. So from the 13th, we've rallied 2,000 points. From Friday morning at that low, we've rallied quite a bit as well. And so you can understand if we had to give back 100 points today, 150 points, that's just not a big deal in a move like this. But sure. What is a big deal for me, and we are long this, I want to see the pink 9-period moving average turn green as it goes over the 14-period moving average. And to do that, you're going to have to see at least another 600-700 points to the upside. So I always have two things in mind. One is there's going up, and the other is going down. On the way up, there's this V-shaped pattern, and I've drawn in, I made it more like a cup so that you can see it better. And you're making higher highs and higher lows. You've gone to a leg C already from the low that was made on the 13th at 40,661. But I would have preferred if this leg C today, I said on Friday that I'm expecting, especially on Thursday, I wasn't here Friday, but I did my hour-long video for subscribers.
Basil, please stay right there. We need this analysis. Folks, we'll be right back with Basil. Welcome back, everybody. We are joined right now by Basil Chapman. That is the author of the Opening Call newsletter. Additionally, he has a Tiger Technicians Hour on 10 a.m. Eastern Time every day. The market is open right on TFNN. Basil, before we went to the break, we were looking at some Dow charts. What are you kind of looking at with it?
So I just wanted to mention that in my work, I always look for the lowest low bar and see if I can get a buy signal at that point, at least a turnaround to the upside. Okay. And then if it starts making a peak A and then a peak B, I analyze the technicals to see whether or not there's a buy signal triggered. If the buy signal is in place and then it takes out, usually if it takes out leg B, I say there's a good chance that we're going to go to at least 4 higher peaks. Peak C is the third, peak D is the fourth, and then anything can happen. It can continue high, but the objective in the Chapman wave is to get from a buy signal to a buy mode to at least that D. Well, look at this. We've got the Dow in leg C, and that's very important because I said on Thursday night that if we were to get a turnaround in the market, I don't want to go too much into it now. I've gone through it. I'll go through it again in my show, in the 10 o'clock show. This is what I was using. Oops, let me just go to this INDU. This technique here, where I look for internal low and residual low or internal high and residual. It's like an earthquake, and then the aftershock could be either the same or greater or less. And in this case, we've only had the internal low, and that matches what we did back in August of 2024. So I'm watching very closely to see if that 9-period moving average, the pink 9-period moving average, can cross green. That would give us even more to the upside. So I am anticipating there's going to be some kind of an arching over at some point, and that's going to be the big test. As I was saying before, I like to put in the pattern for the upside, and the downside would be if we start to fail here and the Dow I mean, as I say, down, what, 55 points right now after 2,000 points up. That's nothing. But if the Dow starts to break 42,300 in the next day or two, I'm going to be watching that very closely. And then I mentioned to you that we had gone back into had Robinhood, and that I like the pattern. I think it really it covers a lot of what's going on in the general market in different areas, and the public being in the market in much greater proportions than there had been before. And I think we can see that here. So we've had Robinhood since the 16s, way back August, I believe it was. As it was getting close to the 60s, we took bits off. We've kept a core position, and then we added to that the other day, and it's done very nicely and still holding. And there's that leg C. And in this case, the stochastic's at 65. I like the stochastic to be at 80% when I get a buy mode upgrade. It isn't there yet, but this is a very nice bounce. And then I also spoke to you about gold, that we've been long gold for quite some time via the physical gold, PHYS is the symbol, and that we had made a peak C, and there's no other way I can count it. And somehow or other, that the gold should squeak at least to a slightly higher high above in the continuous contract, above 3,065.2. If it goes to 0.3, that starts a leg D. And at that point, I think we could start to see a little bit more of a consolidation. But so far, gold has been, look at this. This is the weekly chart, leg D, monthly chart, leg D. And all the technicals, look, the 9 period is over the 14 in the weekly. The MACD is strong. The stochastic's at 87%. The blue line, the on-balance volume is good. So far, this is holding very, very well. And I also like, for subscribers, I like to get in at all different price levels, because you have people who have different, portfolio. Of
course.
There's a limit to their portfolio. So I have single-digit stocks as well. Some of the ones that we've got, we use them as a kind of a proxy if the sector is doing well, and if the core, the leaders in the sector are doing well. So we have a silver stock, and it's starting to do much better now. It's doing quite nicely. It's actually in a very nice percentage gain for us. But you can see that silver's playing catch up. I'm not sure how long it can go for, but that's also at a peak C. There should be a higher high above in silver. This is the silver contract, above 35, round number 35. Back on the 18th of March. I always look at those round numbers. So if we can go just above that to 35.01, that starts leg D. But I have a target of 35.79 in the cup formation in silver, and that was the high that was way back in October. I believe it is October, the week of the 25th, where it went to 35.79. So this is the way I like to look at the market, sector by sector. We also went back into ARKK. We had really nice gains a couple of times in ARK Innovation, and it's starting to improve, but it's a work in progress. I'm going to tighten the stop, but this ARK also in leg C. I have this left side, right side price time match, which says if it can keep rallying by the 31st of March, that's Monday, it should try to hit the 57.14 level. That's quite a way to go. Right now, it's at 53.70. So I just wanted to give a little overview of the type of thing that I do. And at the same time, this is a critical, I said to subscribers, we should rally into Wednesday if everything works out. But you can see by this INDU, you can see by the power of this move in the Dow, making higher highs and higher lows and spending just a day before it goes to a higher high. This is very important. But the stochastic at 55, that's the one disappointment. I needed to get to 80%. So over the next few days, if it can get to 80% with a rising market, that's important. But if the Dow slides below, I'd say 42,300 in the next day or two, I got to watch it closely that it doesn't arch over. That's the pattern that I call the H formation.
Yeah, fantastic. You know, I read in call as well, and I hear what you're saying with some of the equities you picked, guys. This is a fantastic time to get into the opening call. Basil, additionally, I want to say, I mean, a great re-entry, or, you know, kind of maybe a relook at Hood as well. This has been exceptionally strong after making its low around March 10th. I mean, these guys are expanding. You know, we even talked about the fundamentals on a moment for it. These guys are expanding into the sports betting. They're expanding into like basically binary contracts, right? Like prediction markets, which are gaining a ton of steam in things like Kalshi and so on, Poly Market. And so Robinhood really becoming this almost like one-stop shop for this newer way that I would say younger people kind of look at finance, right? Obviously options are huge with it. I know a bunch of people getting into Hood just starting to make accounts right now because of everything going on in the market. And then of course with the prediction markets, I mean, they're capitalizing on these kind of these trending, let's say markets, I guess. It's
and
been
they've
very
done
impressive.
that since the very beginning, but they did hit, I always look at round numbers, an 85 round number all-time high 2 months after the IPO, August of 2021. Then they had a little bit of a drop down to $6.81 in June of 2022.
I know.
So this has been a very long slog, but what's really important is I think they test markets and then they go into them.
Yes.
So you can actually see that in the chart. It's not like a biotech where you get a big spike up and then a monthly candle, then the monthly candle closes at the low. This is different. It keeps building strength. So this is what I would say, that if Robinhood at any point on a weekly basis can close about 59, that's halfway into this long wick from last week, that would say there's a really good chance that it's going to retest the 66.91 high of the week of the 10th of Feb. But at this point, there's a lot of work to be done. That was a pretty serious pullback. But I like what's going on right now.
Basil, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
Thank you very much, Jacob. Have a good evening.
You too now. Folks, now is a great time to get the Opening Call newsletter. Check it out. You can do so at TFNN.com. Go to the newsletters tab. You stay right there. We'll be right back.